you gonna be talking to me, asking questions,
Yeah.
or okay?
Yeah.
So we'll start from the beginning. Outside. We'll get some lights on. You know, years ago when we got this building, it was just a complete empty building. So, and this is what 30 some years ago. We decided, well, what I can remember is people coming to the dance class. They come in, they go to the counter, they check in, they grab their name tags, they put their coat up, and they change their shoes. They go to the bathroom, they go to the dance floor. So that's sort of a natural flow to it, and a little bit unorthodox. But hey, somehow people are conditioned to do that. I was going to college in Chicago area, and during the summer, my roommate said, "Hey, you know, there's I saw an ad down the street. There's a Fred Astaire studio, is looking for new teachers," and I didn't even know who Fred Astaire is. But I danced in grade school, like 6th, 7th grade. So I said, okay, I'll go apply for a job. They hired me, so I trained in Downers Grove for a couple of years with them. And then, of course, I transferred down here to go to school, and I thought that's it, you know, no more. And so I miss it so much because, you know, engineering school is really no fun for me, but dancing is a lot more fun.
What actually brought us out here is that we had a neighbor that was taking classes out at Regent. When I heard about that, it sounded like so much fun. I talked Philip into coming to one class. Will you just come out with me to one class, because I didn't know what I was walking into. You know, did everybody have partners? Who would be here? I was nervous. He agreed to come to that one class, and it was a huge class. And so many people
About like 90
that were
people
in that
yeah.
class are still out here dancing.
Yeah.
And had so much fun that was it. And we were just kind of hooked.
5, 6, ready, go. Slow down. The building was here because it used to be a schoolhouse. Okay, now check this out. So all the building, all the windows of this building, schoolhouse windows.
Yeah.
They were gonna make an office building, and the fellows went bankrupt building it. So it was sit empty for 3-4 years.
Right.
And I was looking for a building with no post.
Right.
So they say, you know, here's a building out of town, middle of nowhere. And I look
Must
at
have
it.
really been in the middle of nowhere at that point.
Oh, no kidding. There's nothing here. We had to go to Neal Street, put a big sign that says Arrow.
Yeah.
Come here, and Prospect too. So, and the road dead ends here. There's no road. But we didn't know any better. We just said we want a place to dance.
Yeah.
Let's build a place.
Yeah.
So that's how we get started.
Well, the lady I was married to at the time wanted to take dance class, and so we came here, but then we divorced, and then about a year or two later, then I kind of jumped back into it as a way to kind of get back into meeting people and hanging out with other singles.
And you're trying to get better. It's something fun that you can continue learning. It's great exercise. We have a good set of friends here, so not only is it good exercise, but it's a good social atmosphere as well.
I spent a lot of probably weddings type of thing, just wishing that I could be out there, although I didn't know how to dance, but never ever was felt like I should actually be dancing. So when the opportunity came up, and actually with some friends said it's time you get out of the house, and this seemed as a safe environment, it's wonderful, just that idea of just dancing.
The first basic step, the first move, I was hooked. I just thought, this is fun. This is grand fun.
We've got people who come here from every kind of background. You get here and you realize dance instruction is really only a part of what's going on during the class. It's almost a huge leveling field because everybody comes in and nobody knows anything about dancing practically.
here we come to the wood area. These are all 3/4 inch oak time grooves. I still remember the day we put it in.
Suspended?
Suspended, that's right. But the suspended, the word suspension is kind of crazy because, if you got a lot of money, you have springs and stuff like that. We don't have any money, so early days we put rubber. We bought strips of rubber and glued them on the bottom so they kind of bounces. That's how we do it. Yeah. So the idea of this, of course, is allow students to go either direction into the ballroom, and if we have 2 classes going on, then we can block the hallway off. In a classroom, a bunch of people, they come in for different purpose. So you have to kind of address all different areas. Some people come in to just meet people. Some people come in, they want to work out. So let's dance for a minute before we stop so they get sweaty. Some people come in, want to feel. So it's tricky. You had to, I kind of had to set up a buffet. Then everyone come in and grab different things. And that's what's tricky is you don't just set out 3 dishes, take it or leave it. We'll set out 10 dishes. It's a Chinese buffet. So come on, you can just come and grab what you need.
The thing I like about David is he is thorough in the way he teaches things. And so the way he structures the class, you're going to be seeing the same thing over and over again over multiple weeks. So that's almost like practice itself, where you practice the same set of steps this week, and then next week and the week after. You may skip because he has something extra that he has to teach, but then he continually comes back to it.
You rotate partners, so if you're dancing with one person that has no clue for 30 seconds, and then you rotate to the next person, and they do have a pretty good idea of what they're doing, then that kind of reinforces your lead skills.
I kind of want to entertain you during class. You got to laugh about it, you got to just have fun. And once in a while, I want to dance a little to inspire you. All these are happening. And I really think new dancers are scared to start with. And if you can show them it's safe in my class, and then you want more.
For some of the dances, especially the dances that I teach, that I consider are very internal, like very visceral, they're very much about feeling the dance. They're like, what? It's really hard for them to imagine themselves in that position. It's kind of experiencing that. It's like if you really want to experience what this dance is about, you need to have those moments where you're not together. It is not something that they can't do or that is completely separate from them. That is actually something that you can get to. That there's this connection that can happen.
I was so accustomed to being in groups with lots of children and not really socializing a great deal with just adult environments, if that makes sense. And then standing so close to somebody, I remember feeling uncomfortable at first. And then it's interesting how that gradually you don't even notice it.
I spent so many years being self-conscious, worrying about what I looked like, and that's really not what dancing is about.
You have to be a lifelong learner, so the opportunity to do that, I think, is real important. When I put an adult there and I become the student, what I find is that I have to focus on that person really, really hard, but I also need an incredible amount of repetitions.
I would say the biggest challenge is their preconceptions about themselves, about what they should or should not be doing because of who they are. So they bring in all these roles and these ideas about the other sex, and you know how touching and that is really hard to break some of those patterns.
The men have to think of steps, and if they don't have a large repertoire, they think that she won't enjoy dancing with them as much. And I don't believe it's true.
I've taken some great lines from David, actually. My favorite line is like, there are about 6 of you doing this wrong. You know, you're looking around and he's looking at me.
5, 6, ready, go. 1, 2, triple step. Got 1, triple 2, triple 3, pivot, turn around, and change your partner. I don't think tonight's going to be it. A lot of new teachers may not realize that teaching more material is not always learning. They can learn by, let's go with the music, let's go, well, so I can do the same pattern and still make you feel like you're learning. I want my students to have good experience in classroom, so they must feel safe, and the material must be easy enough for them to do, but hard enough that have challenge. So I don't go in and say, okay, today I'm going to teach this. I go in and say, okay, let's do this, and let me see where you are logically. Okay, let's move you up to this stage. We kind of designed a baffle ceiling here, and because I remember go to places, you know, the speaker just right over your head is so loud. So as you can see that you don't see any speakers in here because all the speakers are up in the ceiling. And for people sitting down here, it's okay, you're behind the speakers. Right. So the dancers are dancing out there. And so that's the idea. So the floor is bouncy, sound is good. And of course, we also have my fancy handy-duty garage door opener. Allow my sound system to come down.
I love this light.
So basically, we can control the music from here, the microphones, whatever we need, and we can push a button. This baby goes up, so we can dance without running into it, and yet we still have the control of the music.
It is a feeling of lightness when you are doing something correct. You're very fulfilled that all the lessons you've taken, it finally clicked, something goes together, and it's a self-accomplishment.
I'm happy being there because it feels good to be able to go out and take somebody who's a total stranger and maybe they've had like a couple lessons or a couple classes or something, and they feel great about it and I feel good, and it's a lot of fun.
You know, for people who aren't very good at singing or dancing, doing it by yourself is terribly, you know, wow, I can't do that. But if you do it with someone else, then you sort of like enjoy doing it.
It's sort of a thing of beauty when you get a really good partner and get to perform with that partner, not necessarily that anybody's looking at you, but just your own total focus is on what you're doing. And, you know, it feels just right. God, it's great.
When you have a good connection with someone and you can move together and you both have your own parts, but the communication is so clear. If I say, oh, I just love dancing with so-and-so, it's for that reason, because they're very comfortable to dance with.
There's a real nice class of people here at the Regent, that a good cross-section of society, and yet I think there's really nice people here. I don't think I've met a single person here that I wouldn't enjoy meeting outside of the dancing environment.
I enjoy the atmosphere. It's a nice, safe place to be able to relax and have some fun.
everything that's going on at home, whether there, is tension or stresses, which there usually always is to some degree or other, it pretty much dissipates on the dance floor. So that's a wonderful thing about partnership in dancing and just the joy of dancing.
If I had done this in my early teens, my life would have been tremendously more beautiful.